All right. We are ready to go, coming at you guys with some basic fantasy today. I am very excited. Nate Thurston will be the GM today, and the session is titled Trouble at Basinpeak. So very excited there. And I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm just going to kick it right over to Nate, and we'll get started.
Fantastic. All right, so the basic premise here is you guys have we've randomly generated your characters. And we used this book right here, it's probably backwards, Central Casting Heroes of Legend, to generate some random backgrounds for your characters. And boy, do we have some backgrounds. And then we went through and we did 3d6 down the line, created your character's basic fantasy. And even the way I created the adventure, I stuck to all of the rules in the back of the basic fantasy book. As far as generating a dungeon and generating magic items and all of these other different things that you can do in the book. So this is as old school as you can get, as far as, I mean, probably not as old school as you can get, but it's the old schoolest I've ever done. So great. So we are going to kind of just, hop right into it then. So the three of you have been, you know each other. How long you've known each other is really going to be up to you guys. Let's kick over to Sam Torna, who's playing Findelli. How do you pronounce your name?
Just gonna unmute myself first. Findelli, go by Finn. So, hi everybody, I'm Sam. Findelli is a hardy looking elf, hardier than most elves any of you have ever encountered. He's got a few scars. He's a little bit thicker, a little bit more muscular than most of the elves around. He is draped in pelts and skins. That's what you might see on someone fresh out of the wild, like a barbarian or something like that. And he's got a perpetual look of like a hunter or something. He's got kind of like a 1,000-yard stare most of the time. He seems like he's a little bit distant from most people you guys talk to, but he's when you get to know him, he's a generally good-natured person. That's the only reason you guys probably hang out with him. And that's you guys would know that that's based on things from his past. He's got a generous nature because of what's the word for that? Of a fortune he found when he was younger. But the most striking thing on him would be a book that dangles on his side, kind of strapped to his belt by other leather belts, basically. With it's an ancient leather-bound book with strange runic symbols all around it that he prays to every morning, and that's where he gets his spells from.
And for the length of time that you've known him, you've known that his and correct me if I'm wrong there, Finn, but one of Finn's drives is to there was something mysterious about this book to him, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's definitely. It's mysterious. It's tied to his, he feels it's tied to his ancestors. And every once in a while, he picks up something new from the book. Yeah.
And part of what the reason he suffers your guys' company is because he kind of might need you to further his knowledge about the history of this book. And he's taken you guys on several places with him to discover more about the book. And so let's go over to Jeremy Hofnagel. What's up with Jeremy?
Hey, I'm Tim. Jeremy Hofnagel is just a pretty solid-looking human. He's kind of denser. He's not necessarily dumb. Not a lot of stuff gets by him, but he doesn't seem to make the best decisions. And he certainly doesn't seem to attract the best company where he goes. Other than that, he doesn't speak much, but he's pretty reliable for getting things done. He walks around dressed like a a basic fighter, really. He's got a shield and a variety of weapons on him most of the time, and he doesn't go looking for trouble, but it seems to find him and has for the better part of his life, really. He's been through a lot of things, some of which he has shared with you guys in the time we've been together, and some that he keeps to himself. Other than that, he doesn't have a lot to say most of the time.
And what's one thing from his past that contributes to his worldview in a more than paltry way?
Well, he accidentally joined an army. He was applying for a government job, and it ended up being a job with the military for a local governor. And not only was he not interested that much in violence at that point, but then everybody else in his unit died. So it ended up being a pretty rough experience that informed a lot of his adult outlook in life.
Fantastic. And we'll go up to Ire Perwin.
So you would see me sitting. Where are we at this point located? Are we just kind of sitting in the outside and near a campfire or something like that?
Yeah, I'm going to say that you guys are just outside the town of Basinpeak. You've just arrived there, and you haven't taken up lodging there for reasons which we'll discuss in a moment.
Okay, but we're sort of milling about outside the city.
Yeah.
Okay, then I would be kind of standing off a little ways, looking kind of up into the sky, looking, at the sun if it's out. And you would see my eyes are closed, so I'm not looking up, but my head is up, right? Eyes are closed, and I'm kind of holding my hands up, but it's this shabby thing. I've got these sort of tattered, dirty clothes. I'm wearing leather armor, but it seems patched in places, almost as if, being in battle, not having enough means to repair it properly. It's piecemeal, and the golden hair spilling down my shoulders to my head down to about my shoulders again is very unkempt. I do my best to try to portray the dignity of the elves, but I don't always do a great job, as my shabby nature belies a tough past. But you will notice, and since our travels, I've constantly been praying to a mysterious sun god that you guys may or may not know, but believing that somehow the sun and the light will illuminate our path and protect us from darkness and will give us power over our enemies. Meta, I'm actually a fighter, not a cleric. So.
And was there one thing from your past that significantly influences your worldview?
Yeah, absolutely. So I probably would have talked numerous times around the campfire and in our travels about those that I consider highborn, or those that are in power, and I'm very sort of antagonistic towards them. Also, anybody who is downtrodden, who is poor, beggars, I typically will go out of my way to try to help them, to the point that it could even be detrimental to our cause in some cases, because, sometimes, you don't want to help those people, but I do, and it's problematic on occasion.
Great. So, Tim, are you still there? I see you're perfect. Awesome. So you guys are kind of gathered at this small campfire outside the town. So this town is Basinpeak. You've just recently arrived here after a week's long journey through the wilderness. You're hungry. You've been traveling together for a little while. This is a stop that you have planned on your way to far grander things. Each of you have your own intentions, but right now it seems to be to uncover some more mysteries about Finn's book. He seems to be leading at the moment. You know that the locals here use the nearby river, Turquoise Run, and the lake, Cobalt Waters, as their primary food source. They fish from these. The town itself is situated in the mountains, and the once flourishing economy was supported by the trading of gems mined from the mountain. And also prominent here are jewel crafting and beer brewing. Recently, you know that an alchemist has also opened up shop here. The town looks unremarkably plain. With its steel rooftops, lava stone walls, and dirty roads, Basinpeak has a macabre atmosphere, and it seems mostly inactive at the moment. Something seems to be dragging down the normal flow of life here. The main attraction is the windmill, which was built 69 years ago and designed by dwarves. So, when you arrived here, you were made immediately aware that the town is in a bit of trouble. They're down on their luck with fish. Always, year after year, the river and the lake have provided, even in times of heavy fishing. It never failed them. However, now they're having some serious issues, and which is why you guys chose to stay on the outskirts of town, because you can just hunt your own food. You're very capable. But many of the people that live in Basinpeak have gotten used to I'm not going to say a more luxurious lifestyle, but they've definitely gotten used to having the fish there as the resource. And so there aren't too many hunters anymore, mainly just fishermen and gatherers. And so they don't dare go into the wilderness with boars and hyenas and all these things. But you guys don't seem to have any problem with that. So we're going to assume, as opposed to going to a scene where we're on the campfire, for the sake of time, we're going to send you guys into the village, and you are hungry. You have not been able to get a catch or a good meal, and you were planning on stopping here for reprieve. You don't want to stay out in the wilderness any more than you absolutely have to, so you're going to try your luck going back into town again. As you mill about town, you see the local bar, which doubles as the town's restaurant. It's raining outside. It's a little bitter, maybe about 40 degrees outside. And as you come up to the place, the sign is tattered and torn, but it's still there. There's a big wooden sign called the Hog Hole. And from the outside, it looks dire, cheerless, and unfriendly. Bricks and wooden supports make up most of the building's outer structure, and it's hard to see through the large stained glass windows, but the uncomfortable atmosphere can be from within can be felt outside. What do you guys choose to do? You can enter the bar, or you can go out to the rest of the city and explore the town.
I mean, I'm up for a drink if we would like to go in. I'm not terribly intimidated by any uncomfortable atmospheres.
I would be looking up at the sign, realizing that this is a bar, and I would kind of reach over to my belt pouch. And this thing is probably more tattered than the rest of my things. And I kind of look, and there's I hold it up, and there's a hole in the bottom, and I put my finger up in it, and I go, indicating that I have maybe 2 coins to my name at this point. And then the rain coming down, and I'm like, there are ill omens about tonight.
Finn pats you on the back. No worries, old friend. We'll get in there. We'll warm up, and I'll float you a few ales.
Sure, we've been out in the woods long enough. I can buy us all around as well.
It is most kind of you. Thank you both.
Thank you. Wrap it with these ill omens and nasty portents.
As you enter the tavern through the old wooden door, you're welcomed by a layer of smoke hanging below the ceilings and whispers. The bartender is coughing into a dirty napkin and makes no effort to acknowledge your presence. It's as dreary inside as it is on the outside. Wooden beams support the upper floor, and the large molten candles attached to them. The walls are covered in photographs of what were undoubtedly better times for this tavern. They're now more a painful reminder of what it has turned into. The tavern itself is almost completely abandoned. The few people inside could be locals, could be lost souls, but whoever they are, they give you an uncomfortable feeling of dread.
Bartender. And it's like he's not paying attention, so I kind of like slap the bar harder than I need to.
He's a human man standing about 5.5 feet tall. He's got about a 4 o'clock shadow. And he kind of looks up at you and he says, "What do you want?"
I put down a gold piece on the bar. A round for each of us, please.
He looks at the gold piece and he looks around and he says, he grabs it and he says, "You think slinging that kind of money around here is safe?"
I didn't think anything of it. Is it strange around here?
You adventurers have no sense of. He mutters and he goes off and he gets a drink for all three of you. It seems to be the only drink the tavern makes anymore. He calls it a burning brandy. And when you drink it, it is indeed burns when it goes down. It's kind of a mixture of tap water and not very spiced whiskey. But which is odd because you know that this town is known for its beer brewing. So getting served this is not necessarily a great, it's more of an insult than it is anything else because you know that the town has some pretty good beers. It burns.
I was actually gonna say Finn would speak up. I look at it. I was like, "This is not. I gave you a gold piece. I expected something better than this, considering the reputation of this town."
He says, "What do you mean the reputation of this town? What are you getting at?"
I look over to Jeremy. This is the human settlement known for beer brewing. Yes,
That's what I was excited about.
He says, "Oh, that. Well, yeah. I mean, I got some specials in the back, but we've been saving those. And I'm not too keen on giving them out right now, especially not to, well, I don't know." He leans in a little bit closer and he makes eye contact with the three of you as you guys sip on your drinks. He says, "Now listen, thought just came to my mind. This town's struggling, if it ain't obvious. And we've been having a problem here with the fish. We haven't been able to get a catch for the last 3 weeks, and this town's suffering. We just had this new fancy alchemist open up shop, and he's already considering leaving. First thing you could do for me is ask him not to leave. He's been a great boon to this town, and I would hate to see him go. After you talk to him, maybe you could see if you could find out where these. We sent two folks, a lot like you, off to go figure out what the fish problem was, and they never came back. Maybe you guys could go see what's going on with that."
But where'd you send them to?
"We didn't know. We sent them along with the fishermen. A few of them have gone missing too."
From both the lake and the river?
He nods.
I wouldn't mind going back out in a boat. It's been a while. But aside from the chance to go back out onto the I'm assuming it's a lake, yeah?
Yep, there's the lake and the river.
Aside from the chance to finally get back out on the waters, that seems like a long, quite a fairly long list of chores.
Or a beer.
Yeah.
He says, "I'll tell you what. I'll give you one now. And when you get back, if you fix our fish problem, you'll get the rest of what I have in stock."
And I would look over to Finn at that point and I would be like, "Don't worry, Finn. You know I'm a good luck charm. We'll help them with their fish problem. And then you can drink all the beer you want." And I kind of look over to Jeremy as well and kind of like, give him like a reassuring, nod. And that's one thing that you would know about me is that I've said this from time to time that I'm a good luck charm. And then I would look up to to the bartender and I would say, "Don't worry, sir. The Lord of the Light will shine his grace down upon this town once again. You could be assured of it."
He says, and I thought it was enough to deal with these weird dwarves. Now I got to deal with these weird elves.
Tell me about it.
I rib Jeremy with my elbow a little bit, and I take a long drag out of the cup. It's like, yeah, he keeps telling about how the light of his God shines on it. Where was he last time we were out in the woods? Huh? We had to fight off all those wolves. I didn't help them.
I'm pretty sure I heard him laughing, but we still made it.
We're here, aren't we? We're here.
That's true.
Without injury and ready for some fine ale. So I would say the Lord of Light did shine upon us, did he not?
I don't know. I tapped my book. It's like, I don't know. I feel like maybe this had something to do with it, but
he says, yes, it very well could. We have never quite discovered the secrets of that book. Hopefully our eyes will be illuminated here shortly.
Well, let us fortify ourselves and find out what happened to these fish. Maybe they're just people and staying away.
The bartender interrupts and he says, "River and lake have always provided for us. There's never been a year that we've been without. Something's going on. But go talk to that alchemist first. He might be able to help you out."
Are animals going missing as well, or just people?
He said, "Just fish and the people trying to fish them."
Are there boats going missing, or are you finding empty boats?
He said, "All I know is there might be somebody else that knows a little bit more than I do. All I know is we're running out of fish fast, and as if there's been any other further information that people have found out, it hasn't reached my ears."
Gotta say, barkeep, it sounds as if you've been imbibing a little bit of your own product too much. You might be having some memory problems. Slow down there a bit.
He snatches the glass that you've probably just finished back from you, and he says, "Get going."
Aye, I'm done. Let's go see this alchemist.
I chugged my drink and I put it on the bar. Okay.
And I say, could use a bite to eat before we go talking to an alchemist. I don't know if that's something we can fill our bellies first.
Yeah, I think that was another thing I was looking for while we were here. What about that, barkeep? You got any food other than rat crumbs around here?
He says, "All we have left right now is some boar bacon."
That's actually my favorite. And I put down another gold piece on the table.
He says he hollers the order. He hollers the order in the back, and within a few, probably about 10, 15 minutes, there's some steaming hot, actually pretty delicious boar bacon brought to you, to the three of you.
Fantastic. Thank you, my friend elves. I'm much better, slightly less grumpy, definitely ready to find some people and fish. I don't even remember. That's some strong ale.
Yeah. Finn wouldn't even be paying attention anymore. He's just like devouring the bacon. This is pretty much him anytime he eats. He's just two-handed, just no utensils, just eating.
And I think, I would be trying not to inhale it maybe as much as Finn would, but I'm definitely eating with a sense that, this could be my very last meal. And that would also be something that I've done every meal. So, yeah.
Like Oliver, "Please, sir, can I have some more?"
May I have some more? Yeah.
All right, you guys finish up your boar bacon and your drinks, and you head over. You get pointed in the direction of the alchemist, who's just opened up shop. You catch him just closing up shop for the day. He is a little halfling man. You see him. You see him just kind of grabbing a few jars and putting them down into a crate and hammering the crate shut for the day. And when you come upon him, you startle him a little bit. He says, oh, you scared me. Well, you did catch me just in time. Did you want to take a look at my wares? What do you need?
Oh, you're a halfling. We're in luck. What clan are you from?
He says, clan? Well, my last name is Swiftfoot. Markar Swiftfoot.
Looked like you were from one of the barrel builders, but I suppose not. Anyway, we do some good business with halflings frequently. I've had some nudging the elves. I've had some good business with halflings in the past, so why don't you just let me handle this? What are we looking for? I definitely need some health potions, because it doesn't look like either one of you guys are going to be able to take care of me once I carry on all the combat.
When you say that, he kind of looks the three of you up and down. He says, oh, adventure is interesting. Well, I will say that business has been terrible as of the last few weeks, given the fish crisis and what's going on. I'll tell you what, if you're willing to look into this fish debacle, I'll be willing to sell you some of my my constitution potions that I hand make myself for a discounted price. We'll say 10 gold apiece.
That's still a little steep here. We might be interested in looking into this fish debacle, but we were really just here for potions. But if you can, I guess if you could knock them down maybe to 5 gold apiece, we could do that. We'll definitely check out these fish.
Make a charisma check.
How do you want to handle checks in this system? Are you doing a roll under, or are you going to use the
I am
table
doing the table in the back.
All right.
So is that 20? I'm sorry. You're going to have to correct me on some of these rolls.
Yeah, roll a d20 and add your charisma modifier. And I'm going to say for the role play, give yourself a +1 as well.
You need to hit a 15 or higher.
Yep.
Wait a minute. Yeah, 15. Yeah.
You said 8?
8.
He says, no, 10.
I'm just going to look a little abashedly to my left and right.
Just kind of like pat him on the shoulder. You did your best. I think that sounds like a fair deal, halfling. I'm sorry, what was your surname?
Swiftfoot. Marakar Swiftfoot.
Swiftfoot. Is there anything you can... I know you're packing up. Do you know anything about the crisis that's struck this town?
I'll say, well, how many potions are you planning on purchasing today so I can get them ready while I talk to you? He seems... he's very swift. He's living up to his name.
I kind of huddle up with Jeremy because I know Air doesn't have any money. How much gold do you have?
I'm being real quiet. Yeah. Oh, you're talking to Jeremy. Sorry, yeah.
I'm talking to Jeremy because I know you have nothing.
Yeah.
I have only enough to cover 2 at 10 apiece.
Okay, I could just hold up my hand so Swiftfoot can't see it. I got enough for 5. So we say we just get 3 between us. Yeah.
Need 4. Let's go for 4. I'll pitch all my 20. I'll get 2 at least. I'll cover myself if you want to cover you.
And I just pat him on the chest. I'm like, good man. I'll cover your food for the rest of the week.
That sounds delicious. I'll take it and drink.
All right, so I turn around, 20 gold pieces in a bag. I'm assuming he puts out his too.
Yep, I'll turn around and hand out 20 gold as well.
He looks ecstatic, and he hastily grabs the coin and puts it down in a little box that he quickly hammers up and stores away, and then shuffles over to another shelf. And as he's gathering these 6 health potions, you can all mark down that you each have 2 health potions. They heal for 1d6 plus 1 HP apiece. I think it's 1d6 plus 1.
It is now.
We're going to go with that until I actually find the potions written. So, and I'll look that up in a second. So the as he's getting them together, he says to you guys, he says, "Oh yes, I've heard a lot of rumors around town about this fish crisis, and in fact, I'm considering leaving here soon because business has been terrible. But thanks to you, gents, I might stick around for a little bit longer, especially if you solve our problem here. I guess a few of our fishermen have been gone missing. They either haven't been coming back, or the ones we have found, they've been dead, dismembered. It's been terrible."
Dead and dismembered, eaten?
That's new information.
No, not eaten. Not as far as anyone knows, anyway. We've always found their appendages.
Were they displayed or were they scattered?
Both.
Who takes care of your dead, the bodies in this town?
He says, "Oh, that would be I don't know his name."
That's wonderful.
Were these fishermen taken right from their boats? Were the boats recovered with or separate from the fishermen?
No, it's always when they're on their way to or on their way from going fishing.
Oh.
Normally when they're on their way from. And then we're guessing that they just steal the fish. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if it's wild animals just going crazy, if it's a gang of bandits, or what's going on, or somebody who's deliberately trying to just ruin this town, because that's what's happening.
I turned to my friends and I say, "I heard this story once about this nasty little fish-eating creature called Galilum or something like that just was awful. The guy little halflings around all over the place on their quests and stuff. Just
Garfin Boneback. That's his name. He's a corner.
Back. That's it.
No, he's the one who takes care of the dead,
Oh,
not the one killing them."
fair enough.
Boneback. Gotcha.
He's a dwarf.
Dwarf.
Could be.
Okay.
Well, if that'll be all, I'm going to close up shop and go to bed.
Yeah, I'll be back if these don't work for at least half of my money.
He says, "I guarantee him."
As we walk away, Finn is gonna go to the group. He holds out a gold piece. I'm gonna put one gold piece down, and I'm gonna say goblins. It smells like goblins to me. What do you say, Jeremy?
Nothing comes to mind. It sounds more like an animal after the fish than just taking people as incidentally, really. But I have to see more than we've heard. But I'll gladly take that wager that it's not goblins.
That's not a fair wager. You have to pick something.
I'll go with bears. It's definitely
Bears.
I'm going to say it's werebears, probably. I've had some bad experiences with were animals in my life, and it leads me to believe that if there's a problem, it's probably a were animal. Yeah,
What do you think, Air?
gold piece on werebears.
I do not know. To me, the humans in this town, they're probably involved in something, probably a cult. I suspect we'll find out shortly, but I do wish we had someone from the church with us here, just in case. But I thank you, gentlemen, for those potions. Those will certainly will help. At least help Jeremy continue the fight if things go poorly. But I don't think they will.
Where do you all head to next? Where's the next stop for all of you?
What time of day is it?
It is late evening. I'm gonna say probably close to like 7:30.
All right. We should I would think we should probably like bed down for the night and then head out in the morning. Unless Jeremy is serious about wanting to see werebears, then obviously nighttime would be the best.
I would like to speak to the coroner if you guys are down for that.
Yeah, let's go see the Brick and Crinkle or whatever his name is.
Boneback or something? What was his name?
Garfin Boneback.
Boneback.
Yep.
Crazy name. It's a dwarf.
Yep. Very well.
All right, you are fairly easily able to track down Garfim Boneback. He is in, like all good coroners, the graveyard. When you catch up with him, he is in a mausoleum, sitting at a desk, doing what would appear to be paperwork, the best you can tell. And when you come up on him, he hears you coming, and he says, "Yes, come in, come in, come in." And when you come up to him, you see he's a graying dwarf. His beard a little bit longer than you're used to seeing on dwarves, and he's got just a little bit of a sunken face, a few scars here and there, but nothing indicating that this man has suffered the toils of war in his life or anything like that. And he's a little portly, maybe a little out of shape, but still that stout dwarven stature that you're used to seeing. And when he calls you in and you all do pile in, it's a rather small office, and he says, yes, more adventurers. What can I do you for?
I'll defer to Finn.
We're adventurers new to this town. We've been requested to look into the disappearances and dismemberments that have been happening lately.
Names, please. He pulls out a new piece of parchment. So I spell it right on your gravestone.
I give him some like crazy long elven name that's not mine. It's like Fin Duelo. That just like just go on for like a good 10 seconds. It's like, did you get that?
He starts writing it. Like he starts with the F-I-N, and then you keep on going with like the syllables and everything, and he stops, and you just see him looking at the paper. He's like, "This is good enough, you son of a bitch." I was just messing with you anyway. So you're here to look into the fish crisis. That's good. We need someone more capable than those other two poor sods that went out.
We heard that there were some dismemberments. I was curious.
Oh, yeah, there has been. They've been tough to bury.
Jeez.
Dig a hole one day and gotta dig it back up when they find the guy's arm.
Huh. All right. Are we talking like bare dismemberment or clean cuts? What did it look like?
He says, well, by my estimation, it looks like whatever members have been dissed from the body were torn off, not cut.
It's looking more like werebears every second, Jeremy.
Werebears.
Okay.
Thor says, maybe.
Was there anything else odd that you could tell us? We thought you might know a little bit more, being the coroner.
Yeah, what about those two guys you just mentioned that went out last time? Who were those?
There were some local kids from town. I say kids, but they were adventurers in their own right. They'd done some good work for the town, working security and policing and whatnot. But otherwise, we sent them because that was all we could think of to do. Send our strongest warriors to go figure out and they followed a trail. They were certain they knew what was going on, and they haven't heard from them since.
So you didn't find them dismembered anyway?
Nay.
Do you know which way exactly they set off?
They went off to the east.
And that's towards what, the lake or the river?
You follow along the river with the river on your left-hand side.
Did they set off in the day or at night?
In the day. A few days back.
Okay. I think I got everything that I need. What about you two? Okay. It's been a long day. Thank you for your help, Sir Boneback.
You too, Mr. F. Don't worry, I'll have your name written out by the time you get back. If you get back.
Remember all those letters.
And I would probably, as we're exiting the graveyard, I would probably look back at Finn and be like, he doesn't have to remember all the letters. Don't worry. I'm feeling lucky today. I think things will be all right. And then I would kind of lean in and whisper and be like, I don't think it's werebears.
Air, make a save versus death.
All right. By the way, you guys will notice that whenever I'm around, at least within about 20 feet, we get, you feel a lot luckier and hardier. So mechanically, we get +1 to all saves. 19.
Oh, fantastic. So as you're saying that you feel like you guys are feeling lucky, you just barely miss smashing your head off the doorway to the mausoleum. And you stop yourself, kind of like the stormtrooper in Star Wars that bonks his head. You almost do that, but instead you catch yourself before you do, and you're able to duck under the door properly. So I was going to have it be that you hit your head when you say I'm feeling lucky, but you made the save, so good job. All right, so if that's all you guys are doing for the night, then do you choose to stay at the Hog Hole to take up residence there for the evening, or do you go back to your campsite?
I don't really have an opinion about that one. Anybody care one way or another? We would probably just save money.
I'm fine with the campsite in general. I kind of prefer sleeping out in the open.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That bartender seemed a little shifty too.
Lamenting the fact that I won't be getting to sleep in a bed. But I won't say anything as I kind of agree with my companions, and we head back to our campsite.
Okay, you guys will hunker down for the evening. I will just roll one wandering monster check for the whole night. There's nothing. You wake up the next morning, refreshed, set to go. You've got some boar bacon in your belly still digesting, so that makes you rather happy and cheery. You make the fantasy equivalent of coffee, so fantasy coffee, and probably some type of caffeinated tea provided by one of our elven friends, probably the mage. And you guys set off. So are you guys going towards the river to follow that way, or are you going back into town to gather more intel?
I say we're good to just probably head out east along the river like those last two did.
Do we need to check off rations for the morning?
That was one thing I was going to mention here. So I am not going to, for this one shot or two shot, whatever it turns into, for now. If this were a campaign, I'd be tracking rations, but it's not. So we're not going to track rations for this.
All right. Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. So you guys will begin making your way down the river. It's easy travel during the day. No problems there. There we are. I'm going to do another wandering monster check here. Nope. Okay. You head east in the same direction the adventurers traveled, with the river on your left. Along the way, you hear a distant scream.
Whoa.
Can I tell what direction that's coming from?
Yeah, it appears to be coming a little. So you guys are heading east along the river right now. It appears to be coming a little bit more southern from your current direction. So about southeasty.
And the river is to our north, then, right?
Yeah, if you were to turn and start heading straight south, then the north would be on your backside facing, or the river rather would be on your backside facing north, or not facing north. But you get the idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well,
I say we go find out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a good place to start as any, I'd say.
Which is probably a good idea because at first hearing a scream and sensing someone in need, I would have already been heading off in that direction.
I'm just shrug inside and start following him.
I do the
Is
same.
it ire or air?
I had thought of it as ire, but I would imagine you could pronounce it however, depending on where you are.
All right, yeah, and I read it as ire as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, you can begin jogging towards the sound. It was quite far away. And what you notice is that as you begin traveling that direction, you notice that the curve the river must have curved up a little bit further and cut its way back down because you appear to be running towards the river again. Except this time, when you arrive to the scene, you see a man who has just recently been killed. His right arm appears to have been violently torn off, and a large gash runs down his face into his chest. His left hand is still clutching a dagger, which is itself covered in blood. A few dead fish lay on the ground next to his body, and as you look around, you see a few more fish laying on the ground further to the southeast, accompanied by still fresh smatterings of blood.
The slash down his face, I want to examine that more closely. Is that, can I tell if it's claws or a blade or what?
It is way too rough to be a blade. This looks like a claw to you. You guys are level 5. You've seen some stuff. This is clearly not a blade.
Are there distinctive claw marks? Can you tell how many claws there are? Or is it like
yeah, there's 4.
Are there distinguishable tracks or like a deep impression or anything like that?
You're talking yes, when you look, you see that like a little bit further away down to the southeast, you see a fish on the ground, and then in between where you're at and that fish, you see smatterings of blood here and there. Clearly the man, by your best estimation, stabbed whatever it was with his dagger, and it is bleeding, running off in that direction.
I actually meant like a footprint is what I meant, to just so I could see what kind of creature we might be dealing with.
Oh,
is what my intention was. I don't know if there is a footprint.
You do see a slight footprint. It's not very well defined. Make an intelligence. Actually, let's see. We're going to go with wisdom on this one. You're going to take a look at it and assess based on your knowledge, your experience.
That's 18 total.
Yeah, this, to the best of your estimation, looks to be a humanoid foot. That's about all you can gather from it.
A humanoid foot. Okay. All right. If that's the case, I point out the footprint. Maybe it's big goblins. And I say, come on, before the trail gets cold.
And I think, I would sort of be kneeling next to the man and kind of doing, a quick little prayer, in Elvish to, the Lord of Light protect you and save you and whatever. And then I would try to grab the dagger out of his hand as I'm kind of following my companions.
You can go ahead and mark that in your inventory. The dagger itself is clearly very well made. Dwarven smithy, you can tell. And there are some custom etchings on the hilt of the blade that indicate that this is a family heirloom of sorts.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. As you guys follow the trail, it's quite easy to follow. This creature, whatever it is, was bleeding quite badly, and you're able to follow this trail of blood. You find maybe one more fish that has been dropped by this thing, and before you make your way to the entrance to a cave set into the slight kind of largish mountain, and as you approach the entrance to this cave, yeah, basically, no, I can't go further there because haven't decided if you guys have decided to enter the cave yet or not. So here's this cave. Thing clearly went into the cave.
I mean, we're going to enter the cave. Like, yeah. But
in Ayer's mind, I mean, that's what you do.
Well, I'm following these fools, and they seem pretty determined to go hunt us a werebear. So, I think I would certainly look at this cave and then kind of give this look over to Finn and then kind of nod over to Jeremy and be like, we're going to have a torch, aren't we? It's like, well, he's holding it. I'm not holding it.
You can't hold the torch and shield at the same time.
I pull out one of my torches. I'm already put the flint and steel to it, and every time, and I just I kind of grab some of my rope and I wrap it to the end of my walking staff. So, I kind of have, it looks like my staff is on fire, which I personally think is cool, but I can't do that yet. Yeah.
All right. So as you approach the entrance to the cave set into the mountain, and as you cross the threshold, you're met with the distinct smell of rotting fish. You can hear drops of water falling from the ceiling and walls of the cave, and feel the humidity as you step further in. The cave is dark inside, and you must take a moment to allow your eyes to adjust to the change. Jeremy, mechanically speaking, in the dark, you are effectively blind. You begin to see that the room you have entered into is large and reverberous. When you light your torch, you see a glint of light shine off of something metallic in the middle of the room. As you notice this, you can also hear the sound of scratching and tearing coming from a tunnel to your left.